Before we begin, thank you very much to Evelyn M for leaving me a tip over on Ko-fi. Thank you very much for the direct support to the channel. Very, very appreciated. Glad you liked the recent Anode and Lug episode. I was not going to let June go by without a little bit of support. So, unfortunately, I wish the schedule was a little bit nicer to me this month, so I could have shown a little bit more. But, hey, we can celebrate that any month, right? So, that said, we have a news roundup to get to, so we need to hurry up and get around to that because there's a lot of interesting news coming. So I think the biggest thing of the week is the fact that there is a rumor going around right now that was reported by Bleeding Cool that a cartoon series based on Skybound's Transformers and GI Joe Energon universe might be in the works. So quote from the insiders here, I gotten a nod from the senior industry sources that Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment's next big news is they sold a new Transformers GI Joe shared universe animated streaming series. It is based on the current Energon universe comic books that Skybound publishes through Image Comics. Kirkman and Skybound have formed in this regard, and they are behind The Walking Dead and Invincible. So we know from Invincible, they have a lot of success turning these cartoons into really high quality animated series. And we know that the story quality in the Skybound books has been absolutely phenomenal. So the idea that we might be getting a series that focuses on both the Transformer and GI Joe side of this and be like a proper, like, two sides of the universe story would actually be really, really cool. Like, really, really cool. So we don't know when this is going to be officially announced. There's speculation that it could be San Diego Comic-Con, could be New York Comic-Con. They could even do a TFCon if they wanted, but that's all speculative. We have no idea if this is even legit, but the possibility is pretty intense. So we've needed something like this for a long time. Like, Transformer fans need something for older fans to appreciate. And right now, when the cartoons have become so kiddified, it looks like Cyberworld is going to be very, very strongly a kids series. So this is going to be a perfect little counterpoint. And because of the crew behind it, because they have a track record of producing comics into really good streaming cartoons, I fully expect this is going to be a really solid series. If this turns out to be true. So high expectations if the rumor pans out, but it does let you ponder some really fun possibilities, doesn't it? These books have been really, really good. Really, really good. To see it animated, I think would be really, really cool. So moving on from there. This is where I should have followed it up with the comic book news, but for some reason I shoved it all the way to the bottom. Let's go ahead and jump straight to that then. So it was reported that Skybound's new creative team has been chosen. It is Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora, both very strong picks. So you've got Robert Kirkman, who is behind Invincible, Walking Dead, and Void Rivals, meaning you are dealing with a writer who not only has already worked within this universe, but also has a really, really impressive track record. A lot of people were worried when they announced that, like, book 24 was going to be the end of the current creative team, but comic books kind of do this all the time. They kind of float between teams to kind of keep the stories fresh, create new jumping on points, and 2 years out, I think, is a good time to refresh and throw something new that people can get on board with. And because it's still in-house, it's still, all these connected creators, and because Kirkman has worked in this universe already, it does tell me that we are going to be getting stories that play off of what has already happened very, very nicely. It feels like there might be an actual, guideline, an actual roadmap as to what the story beats from the first 24 are doing to carry up and to pick up and carry on in the upcoming books. So things like Thundercracker becoming disenfranchised by the whole war and leaving the Decepticons, Astro Trains, Love Was, what's going to be happening with Elita 1 on the Cybertron side of things. There's a lot. there's going to be a lot that I don't think they're going to have time to wrap up in the next few issues. They're going to have to carry on, and I feel like they've got a good team in to do that. Yeah, and Dan Mora being the artist for this, like, look at how good that Prime looks. Look at how good that Prime looks. I'm not going to scroll down any farther than this because anything else would probably be spoiler for upcoming issues. So just look. It's pretty. We're going to get this. It's pretty. I've seen the pages. I've seen the preview pages of issue 25. The art looks really, really good. Not quite as gritty. It's cleaner, but it looks really, really good. I think the book's in good hands. I don't think we have to worry about the books. So, let's get into some toy rumors, shall we? There is a rumor going around, and this is apparently a reliable source, that MPG 19 is not only going to be Soundwave, it's going to be a repaint of Masterpiece 13 Soundwave, which is weird. It's weird to bring a Masterpiece mold that's that old back into the modern line, especially if it's just a repaint. Now, how they're going to repaint that, I'm not entirely sure, because it already looks really, really good. That's already like one of the best Masterpiece releases there is. I would say the engineering could use a little bit of cleanup just to bring it up to modern standards, but that's literally it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the visual of the toy. You know, maybe a little bit more cartoon accurate is the only guess I have. You know, swapping out silver for white, etc. That's the only clue. It's the only guess. The only shot in the dark I could make is that it would just be more toon accurate, take the metallic colors down to flats, that kind of thing, just so it matches in with the modern cartoony aesthetic. But I actually kind of agree with the idea of, like, I don't think it needs a new mold. I think the scale of the toy is fine. I think it is an exceptionally well-made toy. And even if they just want to reissue all the cassettes, I think the cassettes are also really well done. And overcomplicating it or trying to reinvent it at this point would be kind of pointless. So I'm super curious how this pans out and how it's going to look, or if it really is just a repaint or not, because that'd be a fascinating repaint for them to pull. It's a very old toy at this point. We will see. What we do not have to speculate on anymore is the God Jinrai form for the MPG. So, God Bomber has apparently come out for a few people. So we finally get to see that as in-hand images, as well as good in-hand shots of God Jinrai. This is looking really, really nice. So I've said it before, this is not my particular nostalgia. My nostalgia lies in Power Master Optimus Prime, and they do provide options on the toy to just make it Power Master looking, and I'm still probably going to do that. Haven't done it yet. I can see my Jinrai from over here. And if you're in the comments section correcting my pronunciation, pedantics, like, leave it, please. You know what I'm talking about. But no, this still looks really, really good. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I'm going to go for God Bomber. Probably not. Probably not. But I do think this looks way better than the attempt they did during Generations. I think this looks like a way better setup. You know, he doesn't look as back heavy. He's still obviously back heavy because he's got all those robot parts got to go somewhere. The wings are in a much better angle. I hated the wings on the Generations version. He looks really, really cool. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, that's just spot on what that toy needed to be. It looks really, really nice. Just, man, like, this is just a really expensive time. Like, between Commanders and Titans dropping at the same time, and now, like, God Bomber's getting close, this is a really expensive summer for Transformer fans. Oh, and it's getting worse. Oh, and it's getting worse. We have in-hand shots of Sunstreaker and Corden, the repaint for the Missing Link line. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, I still love that they had the wherewithal to actually make sure that one of the first of this line was not only the very first toy designed and engineered for Transformers, for Diaclone car robots rather, making it the first Transformer technically, But I'm also happy they decided to go with this one because it's a mold that doesn't exist anymore. You've never seen a reissue of Sunstreaker because the mold is either damaged or lost. And it's not a character that warrants a brand new mold because honestly, the sales just aren't going to be there to justify it. So in this case, like, I think this looks really damn cool. I think this is a really, really good pull for them to modernize, for multiple reasons. Articulation looks really, really good. He looks as weirdly proportioned and, lanky as he ever did in G1. You got the optional stickers there I like. If you want to Diaclone him up, that's actually a really cool idea. And I like that he comes with a little Diaclone pilot that looks like Spike. That's a really good touch to throw in. And there you see some modern design updates to the transformation. Fold-in fists for swapping out the weaponry instead of firing missiles. That's good to see. Now, if I recall correctly, okay, so let's there is a shot here that I think makes me laugh a lot. It shouldn't, but it does. I like that this is someone who is ready with comparisons. There's a Dianaut, so there's your comparison to like a modern Diaclone mini. Here's your comparison to the G1, which is on the right. They've done, obviously there's a few small differences, but they have kept it as close to the original as I think they possibly could have. If you look over it closely enough, you are going to see a little bit of changes here and there to like shapes and sizes of things, but they did keep it exceptionally close. It looks very, very good. Yeah, and looking at the backside, you can see how much more engineering has gone into the modern one. That's a funny shot. There's another comparison shot. Man, like, shout out. Like, shout out to HKTF, the Facebook group for posting this because, yeah, like, there's just some really good stuff here. Like, they were prepared with all the comparison shots you could ask for. There's Cordon, don't know how it's pronounced. See, where is it? Here we go. Just to let you know that some of these G1 molds are struggling to be modern figures. Yeah, Corden looks fine too. Corden just kind of looks fine. It's the white repaint's neat. Not quite my thing, but Spike doesn't have to leave. He has to look at Sunstreaker's grunt. Okay, that's funny. Okay, it's funny that they can do that. That's actually neat. Yeah, shout out to all the photographers who did these photos. Yeah, lots of names. I don't know who photographed what, but there's some very well prepared fans in there. So thank you for all the comparison shots. Also, if you missed out on the first release, they have announced that Missing Link Convoy is going to be reissued. It's going to be the full toy version with trailer. And yeah, if you missed out on it, you are going to get a second shot at it, which I think is a great sign for the line because I'm expecting some really cool things out of Missing Link. So good to see that we're going to be getting those. For you Wild King fans, episode 7 is now available online. It does debut some pretty cool stuff that this line can do. So if you want to take a look at that is currently available for free over on YouTube. Over on Takara Tomi's channel, if you want to keep up to date. Yes, it's not dubbed or subtitled, but it's not a hard story to follow. It's a promotional YouTube animation for kids. So yeah, you got it. You can handle it. A little bit more news out of Takara. For T-Spark, we have the upcoming Macross 7 crossover figure, Basara Convoy. And this is our first good color shot of it. The little promotional image. Looking pretty cool. You can see like the grimace on his face now, very appropriate. Very appropriate for the characters and the heavy metal guitar that he's strumming. So it's a weird release. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of it in color so I can get a real feel for it and see how we're feeling about it overall. I don't go into Macross because Macross is usually crazy expensive. So we will see how this one turns out. But it's cool that we're working with these toy lines that were otherwise forbidden. And I'm still kind of confused as to why we signed a deal to do Macross, but didn't do a G1 Jetfire reissue. I'm never not going to go over that. Never not going to be okay with that. Okay, so we have in-hand shots of the upcoming Transformers Cyberworld Scorponok. Not technically upcoming because there are people who got theirs off of Amazon already. So we have in-hand shots of the big Scorpion boy. Now, the Scorpion looks fine because that's just kind of how his Scorpion has always been. The Scorpion mode for Scorponok really always has kind of been just lay him on his belly and raise his arms forward. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't have the most complex transformation. All they have really done as a difference is his feet now fold downward to become caterpillar treads rather than folding up and giving him this gigantic back. If anything, it actually makes his tail reach a lot more natural looking. And then, of course, in robot mode, he is a big gimmick toy, so he is mostly a brick. He is mostly a brick to display, so you got to be into it for all the weird play features, like being able to mount so many of the smaller figures across his body, the electronics, and etc. He's big, though. Give him that. Like, it is a pretty big toy, and I don't know why you can do that with it, but apparently you can. But yeah, size and gimmickry is about all it's got going to it. It's a very simple figure, probably not something most fans would enjoy, but if you like a weird and oddly colorful Scorponok, he is getting out there now, so keep an eye out. We'd have a little bit more from Cyberworld showing off Wave 2 stuff. So this is the Off-Road Bumblebee, looking different than I expected. Aesthetically, he's closer to like a movie Bumblebee, which is interesting. We do know that the entire point of this line is to kind of hop around different aesthetics and do different things. So not surprising that we get a little bit of change up between these. It's a nice thing to see. Gives you a little bit of variety. And I will admit that doesn't look too bad. It's a very simple figure, but they don't look too bad there. You don't look too bad. It's like a big, like, Legion class toy at this point. You know, and as long as it's priced accordingly for how simple it is, I'm not really going to raise much of a stink over this. In that artwork, he's almost got like animated Bumblebee vibes, which is interesting. We have our first look at Chop Shop, who actually does look pretty good for a simplified line like this. It's the same stunted 6 points of articulation, nothing like crazy new there. This is like one of the armor ones that comes with this enormous weapon on a figure that's the same size as the normal Cyber Changers. The only thing on this one that's weird to me is the fact that those pincers do not fold down. They just stick out farther on his chest than his arms could reach. Little odd, but otherwise I don't mind the look of him. He actually kind of looks neat. I mean, you named him Chop Shop, which makes me disappointed in the color scheme. You know, but other than that, it's not a bad looking figure. Like for this particular toy line and what it goes for, yeah, he ain't bad. He ain't looking too bad here. Yeah, now it does look like that that little piece in the front is at least removable. Looks like it's on a 5mm post, so you can just pop it off and use it as a weapon if you want. So at least you got that. That's nice to see. Okay, we've seen Snarl, so here's our first up close of him. And again, he's just one of those simple get down on all fours and call it a beast mode type toys. He looks fine. I do like the asymmetry to him, even if it makes him look very junky on. I'm interested to see the explanations behind some of these, because if they're like pulling from different random sources and everyone's from like different worlds or dimensions or whatever. Yeah, like, is this a world where Dinobots came from Junkion? That would be different. That would be weird. And then we have a good shot of Elita 1, getting to see her in boat mode. A first time for her to be in a boat mode since her very first toy from BotCon. Though that was just a weird retool of, not even a retool, it was a straight up repaint of Thunderblast from Cybertron. This gets to be her own thing. And as a speedboat's a little rough, It's a little blocky looking for a speedboat, but you got to get a robot in there. She looks okay. She's at very least unique, being a speedboat transformer. We do not get enough aquatic vehicle modes around here, as we continue to not really be sure exactly what Elita 1 should be into, should turn into. And we have an off-road Optimus Prime, again with the extra weaponry. And this is a big Gatling gun on wings for some reason. Now, with the big wing pack, I kind of expected it to be a backpack of some sort. Especially because they have like an angle that gives me Cybertron Optimus vibes, which would have been nice, but they don't demonstrate that in any of these videos, or photos rather. They just kind of show that it goes on top in vehicle mode, and then the wings can just fold down as part of the transformation, and the gun can split open to make a bigger gun. Yeah, I want to see if there's more you could do with that, because it feels like there should be. Hey, did they call these armored cyber changers, because they don't form armor, really. And now we have Wheeljack, who, for the first time that I can ever think of for Wheeljack outside of like alternators, he has the bumper forward vehicle robot mode. So yeah, this kind of feels like something that's going to end up being Prowl, and that 5mm port on top tells me that's where a light bar is going to go someday. Yeah, it's just weird to see Wheeljack in that form. Let's see, if I remember right, we got no. Oh, okay. So I don't have it here for some reason. Just to wrap up Cyberworld, there is an actual new video showing off Snarl. If you want to go see him a little bit up close. There is also I did see shots. It's not here, but there are also shots of what Starscream's going to look like. And as everyone expected, it's going to be a retool of Mirage. No shock there. Okay, so yeah, you got shots of Snarl. You get to see his stats. A little bit high in some spots for a Dinobot. A little bit low in intelligence, but you know. So you at least get to compare a little bit. We're running very long, man. I've been very talkative about this stuff. Unfortunately, the rest of this is pretty small. So YOLO Park showed off a little bit more of their upcoming Bumblebee movie, Soundwave, along with Ravage. They still look really, really impressive. Like the weathering detail they've added here actually looks extremely cool. The big part of this announcement is the pre-order gift that you will be getting. So the standard one is going to come with a disguise mode Ravage that which basically just is an acrylic plate that you can stick inside Soundwave's chest to make it look like Ravage is in there. But if you pre-order it, you're going to get a die-cast metal version that's fully painted, which is actually a really cool little bonus to throw in. So that's a nice thing. That's a really nice little incentive to pre-order. If you want a little bit more die-cast in it, make it feel a little bit heavier. Not a bad call from YOLO Park. It's a cool little bonus to throw in. And to wrap us up for the week, we have another ComicCon exclusive plushie on the way. This is a new run of Snarl with a G2 logo and a black head, because this is apparently G2 Snarl, even though G2 Snarl more traditionally is red all the way through, but technically a run of them was gray as well, so you can kind of excuse it a little bit. I have a particular nostalgia for that color scheme on that toy, so I would much prefer if it was red. I would go for it, maybe, if it was red. But not as such. Not as such like this. The Laserbeak magnetic plush also we've seen before, but that's also available at Comic-Con, but I believe that one is going to be available later on, according to them. And then we have a really good Grimlock shirt. I think that's actually a kind of a fun Grimlock shirt. Not sure I would go for it, but kind of cool. Kind of cool. And that is going to wrap it up for this week's news roundup. A little bit of a long one this time. Had a lot to talk about, especially in all of the rumor departments. But yeah, we got some cool stuff on the way. So thank you everyone for following. Thank you everyone for watching today. And as always, I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.